Welcome back to Horoscope TV. It is so good to have you here with us. We have a broadcast today that I have been marking on my calendar for, literally months. We are focusing our lens entirely on the zodiac sign of Aries. So if you are an Aries sun, an Aries rising, or even if you have a significant Aries moon placement, you need to pull out a chair and get comfortable. We are looking exclusively at the week of February 9th to February 15th, 2026.
It is great to be back. And honestly, you are right to have this marked on the calendar.
Yeah.
We analyze charts all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
And usually we see weeks that are, let's call them maintenance weeks. The moon changes signs, Mercury moves a degree or two. Maybe there is a little friction on a Tuesday, but generally cosmic weather is just flowing along. This is absolutely not one of those weeks.
Definitely not. I was looking over the data we have for this upcoming week, the planetary movements, the ingress charts, and it feels heavy, but not heavy in a bad way necessarily. It feels significant, like the difference between a light rain and a shift in the tectonic plates.
That is a perfect description. Yes. We're dealing with architectural shifts this week, not just, interior decoration changes.
So let's just cut right to the chase before we get into the nitty-gritty details. If there is one thing, just one single headline event that our Aries listener needs to know for the week of February 9th, what is it?
The headline is undeniable, and it really dominates the entire forecast. On February 14th, Saturn enters Aries.
Saturn enters Aries. Okay, let's unpack this because I know enough about astrology to know that Saturn is a major player. He's not a background character. But for someone who might just check their horoscope casually, to see if they're going to get lucky in love, why is this such a massive deal? Why are we treating this like breaking news?
It is massive, primarily because of the rarity. You have to understand the mechanics of the solar system here. Saturn is a slow-moving planet. It is the furthest planet we can see with the naked eye. It takes roughly 29 and a half, almost 30 years to circle the entire zodiac. So for Saturn to leave Pisces and cross that threshold into Aries, the very first sign of the zodiac, it is a once-in-30 years event. This isn't just a bad hair week or a lucky Tuesday. This is a structural shift in the cosmos that really defines a generation.
30 years, wow. When you put it in that context, it really lands. So for some of our listeners, if they are in their late 20s, this is the first time they are experiencing this in their adult lives. This is brand new energy for them.
Exactly. If you're 29 or 30, this is actually your Saturn return, which is a whole other level of intensity. But even if you are 40 or 50, think back to 30 years ago. Think back to the mid-1990s. That was the last time we had this specific flavor of energy. It marks the closing of a massive chapter and the opening of a new one.
And because Aries is the sign of the self, the I am, having Saturn, which is, the planet of authority, maturity, and structure move into your specific sign, that has to be a very direct signal.
It is the most direct signal you can get. The data describes this explicitly as the end of a chaotic period. Think about the energy Aries has been dealing with recently. Aries is fire, it's impulse, it's I want it now. Lately, that energy might have felt scattered, perhaps a bit reactive, maybe even a little out of control. Saturn puts a hard stop to that. It signals the beginning of a new era of maturity and authority.
That sounds intense, but honestly, it also sounds kind of relieving. The end of chaos. I feel like a lot of Aries listeners might be nodding their heads right now saying, yes, please, I am tired of the scattering.
It is a relief, absolutely. But we have to be honest about the nature of Saturn. The relief comes with a price tag, and that price tag is responsibility. The mission for this week, if we look at the planetary forecast, is preparation. We are moving toward that February 14th date. The universe is asking the Aries listener to step up. This is a call to action to take control of your destiny in a very real, tangible way. It is not about wishing for things anymore. It is about building them, brick by brick.
I love that phrase, stop wishing, start building. That seems to be the motto for this transit. So our goal for this hour is to walk you through exactly how to do that. We're going to look at how this Saturn shift impacts your career, your love life, your wallet, everything. We're going to help you navigate this turning point so you aren't just reacting to the heavy energy, but actually using it. Because Saturn is a tool, right? It can be.
Saturn is the ultimate tool, if you respect it. We want to turn this pressure into power. That is the goal.
So let's dive deeper into this Saturn event on February 14th. You mentioned maturity and authority. When Saturn enters Aries, what does that actually feel like on an emotional or a psychological level? Because Aries and Saturn feel like very different archetypes to me.
They are almost opposites, which is what makes this so fascinating. Let's analyze the archetypes. Aries is the infant of the zodiac, in a metaphorical sense. It is the first sign. It represents the spark of life, The I am, the impulsive, fiery energy that just wants to exist and consume and act. It's raw vitality.
Right.
Now look at Saturn. Saturn is the old man in the zodiac. Cronus. It is time, limits, borders, discipline, gravity.
So you have the cosmic baby and the cosmic grandfather stuck in the same room.
Exactly. You are putting the taskmaster into the nursery. When you put Saturn into the sign of the self, the message is remarkably clear. It is time to grow up. And I don't mean that in a condescending way at all. It means realizing that you are the author of your own life. Aries has this beautiful, innocent quality of just doing things and seeing what happens. Saturn says, no, we need a plan. We need a structure. We need to know the consequences.
So no more blaming circumstances. No more, oh, the world is against me.
No more blaming circumstances. No more waiting for permission. That is the key shift from chaos to control. Chaos is when things happen to you. Control is when you decide how you respond to what happens. The forecast mentions the listener is being asked to step up. This might manifest as a promotion you didn't think you were ready for, or a family responsibility landing on your shoulders, or just a sudden internal realization that you need to get your act together. It's the universe saying, you are ready to handle this weight.
That is empowering, truly, but also a little scary. It feels like there's no place to hide when Saturn is in your sign. You're under the spotlight.
There is no place to hide. Saturn is the planet of reality. You cannot hide from reality. But that's why the timing of the other transits this week is so fascinating. The universe doesn't just drop a piano on your head without a warning. Before we even get to the 14th, we have a crucial pre-game event on February 12th that sets the stage.
Right, I saw that in the notes. The sun connects to Chiron. Now, Chiron is known as the wounded healer, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Chiron represents our deepest insecurity, the wound that we carry, but also the place where we have the most capacity for wisdom. On February 12th, the sun, which represents your core essence, your vitality, makes a supportive connection, likely a sextile, to Chiron. This is happening just 2 days before Saturn moves in. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's brilliant cosmic timing. You cannot step into true authority if you are crippled by old insecurities.
Now that makes so much sense. It's like before you put on the heavy armor of Saturn, which is heavy and rigid, you have to heal the skin underneath so it doesn't chafe. You have to treat the wounds first.
That is a perfect analogy. The forecast explicitly states that this aspect will help you heal old insecurities. Specifically for Aries, these insecurities often revolve around identity. Do I have the right to exist? Am I taking up too much space? Am I actually good enough, or am I just faking it? This transit on the 12th is the emotional preparation. It's a moment to look at those wounds, acknowledge them, and clear them out.
So on the 12th, if our listener is feeling a little tender or nostalgic, or if old memories pop up that make them cringe a little, that's actually part of the
It
process.
is the necessary work. Do not push it away. You need to clear that insecurity to be ready to build the solid future the forecast promises. You can't build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation. February 12th is Foundation Repair Day. February 14th is when the steel beams arrive.
I really like that timeline. It makes the week feel manageable. Monday and Tuesday, you're prepping. Wednesday, you're healing and repairing the foundation. And by the weekend, you're ready to rule.
Ideally, yes. But let's look at where this authority needs to be applied most immediately. Because Saturn is an Earth planet in nature, it deals with the material world. We need to talk about work and career.
Let's do it. Section 2, work and career. The discipline era. I imagine Saturn loves the workplace. He probably loves spreadsheets and performance reviews.
Saturn is the workplace in many ways. He is the boss. He is the structure of the corporation. The arrival of Saturn in your sign changes everything for your professional life. The forecast is very blunt here. Hard work and discipline will be the only way to succeed.
The only way. That's pretty definitive. So no luck. No charming your way out of a missed deadline. No relying on that famous Aries charisma.
That is exactly what is ending. And this can be a shock for Aries. Aries often relies on that burst of sprint energy. You know the type. I can procrastinate for 3 weeks and then do it all in one night because I'm brilliant and fast. And usually they pull it off. But Saturn says no. Saturn wants consistency. Saturn wants you to show up every day. The forecast warns that bosses and clients will expect high-quality results. They are going to be scrutinizing your output with a magnifying glass.
That sounds like a lot of pressure. It feels like the safety net is being pulled away.
It is pressure, but I want to reframe that. It's the pressure that creates diamonds. This is not the time to cut corners. If you try to look for the easy way out this week or in the coming weeks, it will backfire. Saturn exposes cracks. So if you are an Aries, you want to double-check your emails. You want to show up 5 minutes early. You want to deliver 110% of what was asked. You need to demonstrate that you are reliable.
It sounds like the new rules of engagement are basically Be a professional. Be the adult in the room.
Be a professional and be an adult. Precisely. But there's a specific moment this week that could define the trajectory of this new professional era. We need to look at February 12th again. We talked about the Sun and Chiron, but there's another alignment happening that day involving Mercury and the North Node.
Okay, Mercury is communication, logic, data. And the North Node. That's like our destiny point, right? Where we are heading.
Yes. The North Node represents our evolutionary path, where the soul needs to go to grow. It's often outside our comfort zone. When Mercury, the planet of ideas and conversation, connects with the North Node, it creates a portal for information that accelerates our destiny. It's like a download from the future. The forecast says a conversation you have this week could determine your career path for the next few years.
Whoa, the next few years. That's remarkably high stakes for what could just be a random Tuesday or Wednesday chat by the water cooler.
It is incredibly high stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we are highlighting it so strongly. You don't want to be zoned out in a meeting on February 12th. You don't want to ignore a phone call from a mentor because you're busy. You don't want to scroll past a long email.
The advice in the data is specifically to listen carefully to advice from mentors.
Right. And this can be hard for Aries. Aries is the pioneer, the ram. They forge their own path. Sometimes the instinct is, I know what I'm doing. I don't need help. I don't need you to tell me how to do my job. But with Saturn coming in, you need wisdom. Saturn rules elders and mentors. You need the perspective of someone who has walked this path before.
So this conversation might not even seem earth-shattering in the moment. It might just be a senior colleague saying, have you ever thought about learning this skill? Or a boss saying, I think you'd be good at project management.
Exactly. It might be subtle, but your job is active listening, because that advice is likely the key to the long-term security that Saturn is demanding you build. If you dismiss it because your ego gets in the way, you might miss the on-ramp to your new level of success.
So keep your ears open on the 12th. It's very actionable advice. Now, let's talk about resources. Because if we're building a solid future and taking on more responsibility, we usually need to talk about money.
We certainly do. Saturn rules limitation and contraction, but also wealth that lasts. Section 3 is all about the conservative approach.
Conservative approach. I feel like I know where this is going. If Saturn is in charge, we aren't going on shopping sprees, are we? We aren't buying the new shoes just because we had a bad day.
We are definitely not. The Saturn effect on the wallet is very sobering. The forecast explicitly states the days of impulsive spending are over. And for Aries, who could be quite impulsive, I want it, I see it, I buy it, I'll figure out how to pay for it later. This is a significant behavioral shift.
It's the shift from quick wins or, those dopamine hits to long-term security.
Exactly. Saturn is about deferred gratification. It's about understanding that money is a tool for stability, not just a means for immediate pleasure. The instruction here is to create a serious budget and actually stick to it. And I want to emphasize, actually stick to it. Aries is great at starting things, including budgets. Day 1, I'm doing great. But Saturn demands follow-through on day 30, day 60, day 90.
But it's not all tightening the belt and eating beans and rice, is it? There's a little bit of grace here with Venus.
Yes, there is a lovely silver lining. Venus acts as a counterbalance. Venus is in Pisces during this time. Pisces is a very compassionate, boundless sign. The forecast mentions that Venus in Pisces might bring financial help from an unexpected source or a charitable organization.
That's interesting. So while you're being disciplined, the universe might throw you a bone.
It suggests that help is available if you are truly in need. Or perhaps you benefit from the generosity of others in a way you didn't anticipate. Maybe a refund comes through that you forgot about, or someone offers to cover a cost. But, and there is always a but, during a Saturn week, you cannot rely on luck. You can accept grace, but you cannot plan on luck, especially not on February 15th.
February 15th, the warning day. What's happening there financially?
On the 15th, there is tense energy. We are advised to be extremely risk-averse. The instruction is explicit. Avoid large purchases or risky investments on this day.
So don't buy the car on the 15th. Don't put all your savings into that new volatile crypto coin on the 15th.
Absolutely not. This is a day to sit on your hands. If you are browsing online stores, close the tab. The criteria for spending resources right now is simple. Does this add value in the long run? Saturn loves durability. Does this item last 10 years? Does it appreciate in value? If the answer is no, if it's just for fun or for status, keep the wallet closed. Saturn respects value. It respects durability. It does not respect flash.
Got it. Durability over flash. That's a good mantra for the wallet. Now, shifting gears completely. Let's talk about love. Because usually when we talk about Aries, we talk about passion, chase, fire, making the first move. But the forecast for this week describes something very different.
It really does. It describes a vibe shift toward the spiritual and the private. This is not the loud public Aries love life we are used to.
Secrets and spirituality. That sounds like a Victorian romance novel title. The secret spirituality of the Aries.
It really does. This is driven by Venus entering Pisces on February 10th. Now, we have to look at the chart houses here. For Aries, Pisces represents the 12th house. This is the hidden sector of the chart. It is the realm of the subconscious, dreams, the past, and things that are hidden from view. So when the planet of love enters this sector, relationships go underground.
Underground can mean a few things, though. It can mean sketchy and illicit, or it can mean sacred and private. Which way are we leaning here?
The forecast leans toward the sacred, initially. It talks about deep soul connections. It mentions dreaming of a past love. This is a very nostalgic placement. You might find yourself thinking about someone from 10 years ago, wondering, what if? Wondering where they are. Or if you were in a relationship, you might just want to lock the doors, turn off the phones, and just be together in a bubble.
Enjoying a romance that you want to keep away from prying eyes. That sounds nice, actually. Especially with all the work pressure we just talked about. A little private sanctuary where Saturn can't get you.
It is a sanctuary. It's a preference for intimacy over public dates.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be seen at the trendy restaurant to be seen. You want to be at home having a deep conversation about the universe. However, the hidden nature of the 12th house has a shadow side. The 12th house is also the house of self-undoing, and that brings us back to February 15th.
It's a danger zone again. The 15th seems to be a minefield this week.
It is the tricky day. On the 15th, Venus clashes with Lilith.
Ooh, Lilith. We need to explain Lilith for a second. She is the wild card, isn't she?
She is. Astrologically, Black Moon Lilith is a point in the moon's orbit, the furthest point from Earth. Mythologically and archetypally, Lilith represents the untamed, the rejected, the shadow self. She is the raw, primal desire that refuses to be controlled or shamed. When Venus, the planet of harmony and nice relationships, clashes with Lilith, it stirs up trouble. The forecast warns of jealousy or hidden desires.
So this is where the secrets part gets tricky. This isn't just, let's stay in and watch a movie. This is, I want something I shouldn't have.
Exactly. Since Venus is already in the hidden sector, the 12th house, adding Lilith to the mix suggests that things could get messy if you aren't careful. Maybe you feel a sudden irrational jealousy toward your partner. Or maybe you are tempted by a forbidden fruit, perhaps a secret affair, or texting an ex that you know is toxic, but you just crave the chaos.
The forecast says these desires are better left alone.
That is the key takeaway. Do not act on the drama of the 15th. If you feel that surge of jealousy or that pull towards something chaotic, recognize it for what it is. Lilith stirring the pot. It's not necessarily truth, it's a trigger. The solution provided is honesty and emotional clarity.
So instead of acting out, talk it out. Or just wait it out.
Or just sit with it until it passes. Avoid unnecessary confusion. If you are hiding something because you are ashamed of it, that's a problem. That's the 12th house shadow. If you are keeping something private because it's sacred, that's fine. Knowing the difference between secret and private is the challenge of the week.
That is a very important distinction. Private versus secret. One protects, the other hides. Okay, let's move to the physical body. We've talked about the mental weight, the career weight, the emotional secrets. How does this translate to health and wellness?
The body keeps the score, as they say. And this week, the body's adjusting to the weight of Saturn.
The forecast mentions literally feeling a heavier weight on your shoulders. Is that literal or metaphorical?
It can be both. Energetically, Saturn is heavy. It is lead. Physically, you might feel sluggish. You might feel like gravity is working double time on you. Walking up the stairs might feel harder. This is the energetic density of Saturn settling into your aura. The expert advice here is to respect that heaviness. There is an increased need for sleep. Your body is upgrading its operating system to handle more authority. That takes energy.
So don't beat yourself up if you can't jump out of bed at 5 a.m. this week.
Correct. If you need a nap, take a nap. Give yourself the rest. But there are specific areas of the body to focus on. Medical astrology assigns different planets to different body parts. Saturn rules the skeletal structure, bones, teeth, skin, knees.
Bones and teeth. Okay, that's very specific.
It is. The instruction is to prioritize these areas. Maybe it's time to book that dentist appointment you've been putting off. Maybe you need to look at your calcium intake. Or just be mindful of your posture. Saturn is the spine. Stand up straight. Saturn is about structure. Your skeleton is your structure. If your structure is weak, you can't carry the weight of authority.
That makes total sense. And what about the detox mentioned for February 9th?
That ties into the last quarter moon in Scorpio. So Scorpio is a sign of elimination, purging, release. The last quarter moon is a phase of letting go. Happening right at the start of the week on the 9th, it's the perfect setup. Before the new era of Saturn begins, flush out the toxins.
The forecast suggests this is good for releasing emotional stress, too.
Physical and emotional detox go hand in hand here. You can't hold on to toxic waste, whether it's junk food or resentment, and expect to operate at a high level. And interestingly, the exercise recommendation for this week is very Saturnian.
I saw that. Disciplined exercise, weightlifting, hiking.
Notice it doesn't say Zumba or sprinting or competitive sports. Weightlifting requires resistance. You are lifting a heavy object against gravity. That is pure Saturn. It builds bone density. Hiking requires endurance and climbing, usually up a mountain. Saturn rules mountains. These activities help process the intense energy through grounding. You are literally carrying weight to help you manage the metaphorical weight.
So go lift some heavy things or climb a hill. And drinking plenty of water, of course.
Always. But especially when doing a detox or moving heavy energy, you need the flow.
Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. I always love this section. The Cosmic Toolkit, it's like the cheat codes for the week. What is the color of the week for Aries?
The color is crimson. Specifically, the data highlights color code hashtag DC143C.
Crimson. That is a deep, rich red. Not a bright, flashy fire engine red.
Exactly. It's a mature red. It fits the theme perfectly. Aries is ruled by Mars, the red planet, so red is always their color. But bright orange-red is impulsive energy. Crimson is darker, more serious. It carries the vibration of authority, bloodline, and royalty. It's a power color for a power week.
I love that. Wear crimson to that big meeting on the 12th. Wear a crimson tie or scarf.
It wouldn't hurt. It signals that you're ready for business.
And let's run through the lucky numbers.
The numbers popping up in the algorithm are 1, 9, 14, 28, 44, and 50.
And 14 is highlighted.
Yes, 14 is particularly significant because of the Saturn date, February 14th. It acts as a timestamp for the week.
And the best dates for action.
We've mentioned them, but to recap, February 12th is your prep day, your healing day, and your conversation day. Sun Chiron, Mercury North Node. And February 14th is the entry day, the day the shift happens. Those are the pivots.
Now, this is always the most controversial part of our show, the relationship dynamics. We are going to name names. Who to keep close and who to maybe avoid. Let's start with the good news. Who is the best match for Aries this week?
The data strongly points to Sagittarius.
Another fire sign.
Yes. And here is why they work specifically for this week. We talked about how heavy Saturn is. We talked about the seriousness, the budget, the responsibility. Sagittarius is the antidote to that. They share the fire element, so they understand the Aries drive for action. But Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, and optimism.
So they are the cheerleader.
They are the comic relief and the visionary. As you navigate this heavy energy, a Sagittarius will keep your spirits high and remind you to laugh. That is crucial. You cannot be in Saturn mode 204/7 or you will crack. You need the Sag to come in and say, hey, let's go on an adventure, or look at the big picture, it's going to be great. They bring the levity.
Supportive of goals without making Aries feel trapped or judged. That's huge. Aries hates feeling trapped.
And there was a trigger event for this too. The moon enters Sagittarius on February 10th. So right around Tuesday, you might feel that instant connection with a Sagittarius friend or partner. It will feel like a breath of fresh air.
The advice is to use them for blowing off steam or discussing the big vision.
Exactly. Don't go to them for the detailed budget. That's Saturn work. Go to them for the vision of what you'll do when you're successful. They will hype you up.
Okay, now for the tough part. Who is the worst match? Who do we need to be careful with?
The analysis points to Cancer.
Cancer. The crab. Water sign. Why is this pairing dangerous this specific week?
It comes down to a fundamental clash of needs and elements. Think about what Aries is trying to do this week. Toughen up, focus on authority, set boundaries, be efficient. Now, think about Cancer energy. Emotional, nurturing, seeking closeness, sometimes moody.
Ah, I see the friction. Aries is putting on a suit of armor to deal with Saturn, and Cancer wants a hug.
Precisely. The forecast warns that Cancer is likely to be overly emotional and needy, right when Aries has zero patience for it. Aries is trying to be direct and efficient. Cancer interprets directness as cruelty.
Cancer may feel hurt by Aries' directness.
And the risk is high. We aren't just talking about a little spat about where to eat dinner. The forecast warns of the potential for misunderstandings to damage the relationship permanently.
Permanently. That's severe.
Saturn weeks are high stakes. If you snap at a sensitive Cancer on a bad day this week, if you say something cruel because you are stressed, the wound might go deep. Aries does not have the patience for mood swings right now.
So the advice is avoidance.
Distance. Keep your distance to avoid hurt feelings.
Yeah.
It's not about disliking them. It's about recognizing that your frequencies are completely out of sync this week. You are on FM, they're on AM. Protect the relationship by taking some space. Send a text saying, I'm super busy this week, let's catch up next week. That is safer.
That is really good, practical advice. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stay away until you're in a better headspace. Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today, from the massive Saturn shift to career-defining conversations, budgeting, secret romances, bone health, crimson clothes, and avoiding cancers.
It is a full week. It is a pivotal week.
If we had to analyze this whole picture to wrap it all up in a bow for the listener, what is the main takeaway?
The main takeaway is that this is a week of growing up. It is a rite of passage. You are stepping into power. You are healing the past on the 12th, specifically so you can build the future starting the 14th. It's about transition from the child to the adult.
Growing up, stepping into power. I like that.
And if I could offer one final thought on this concept of authority.
Please do.
We often think of authority as power over others, bossing people around. But the root of the word authority is author. This transit this week is about becoming the author of your own story. It's about realizing that the pen is in your hand. Saturn doesn't just restrict, it defines. It gives you the edges and the structure to write a story that actually makes sense, that has a plot that goes somewhere. So don't fear the weight. The weight is just the pressure of the pen hitting the paper so you can leave a mark.
That is beautiful. The weight is just the pen hitting the paper. I think that's the perfect place to leave it. Thank you so much for breaking this all down for us. This has been incredibly illuminating.
My pleasure. It's an exciting time for Aries.
And thank you to you, our listener, for tuning into this episode on Horoscope TV. We hope this helps you navigate the week of February 9th with confidence. Please do subscribe to the show so you can get notified when the next episode is available. We'll be here to guide you through the stars. Until next time.